All right, welcome to the conference championships. Let's get right into the studs and duds from last week. Duds first. Tyler, you're a dud because you put up a monster score in a consolation ladder game, whatever those things are called. You got your team together the last 4 weeks, but unfortunately you sucked for the first part. So you're putting up big numbers now, which are meaningless. Also, duds are those of you that just got kicked out of the playoffs, which would be Drew and which would be Aaron. Your season is done. All right, studs. I think some people want to give to Jim Black because he put up 210, but he put it up against no one. So I'm not giving it to him. It clearly just goes to those who survived in advance. Nick putting up a really good game at 165, kind of setting the tone of how we should fear you. And then Andy just pulling out the victory. I do want to address one thing before I get in the games, and that is my comment last week about the reshuffling. I wasn't really saying that we should reshuffle. I was just saying that I think the four best teams are Jim, Nick, myself, and Aaron. And it's unfortunate that three of us were going to have to play each other to get to Jim. And it played out that week. Jim had 210, Nick had 165, I had 146.5, and Aaron had 122. And the other, Andy and Drew, you had less than that. So it just proves that I really do think those are the four best teams. But unfortunately, it's not at the end of the year. It's not right now. It's how you do all season long. So the seeding should be what it was, just pointing that out. All right, let's get into the games. A little new system this week called the TPS, as in Tim's projected scores. I went through and marked down what I thought each player would get. Even though Jim already had some that played, I just ignored those. So let's get to the first game, which would be father-son, Andy versus Jim. Okay, and Andy, your team first. Drew Brees, I think he should get 24 points. I'm kind of low on Brees right now, but I'm high on how much the Bears suck. So 24 points for him. I think he'll get 20 from Forte. Again, I'm also low on the Saints. I don't really trust them either, but I think he'll get 20 mostly from passing yards because they don't run the ball anymore for some reason. When it comes to Forsett, Jaguars suck. I think he'll get 23. He's put up 4 solid weeks in a row, so I think he'll continue. And then I think you'll get 8 from your next guy, Colston. Again, I don't have to say this often, but the Bears stink, but so do the Saints. And I really think Colston is kind of becoming unvaluable or invaluable or whatever for that team. Next, Martavius Bryant. He's got to get a long ball. That's his really own chance. That's his only chance, and it's kind of unpredictable. So I'm just going to give him a 10 this week because he doesn't seem to get a lot of looks. Just he gets a lot of heaves in his direction, as in just 3 or 4 a game, so he's got to catch one. Next would be Greg Olsen. He tore up Tampa Bay last time for 18 points, and he did it without Cam Newton, with Derek Anderson, which is what's happening again. So I think he'll have a solid game for our tight end. He'll get 15. I'm going to give 8 to Javaris Landry, or whatever his name is. I don't even know who he is. I had to look at him. I don't know who he is. I have no clue if he's a rookie or what his deal is. I do not know him, and I don't think that bodes well for anyone because I feel like I know a lot of the players, and that doesn't bode well when you go against Belichick. When you're kind of a nobody playing decent, I think he shuts you down. So I'm only going to give him 8. I think your defense is only going to get 6. Going against Megatron in Detroit, that's a tough matchup, and 9 for your kicker. So that's an average of 123. I think that's what you're going to get this week is 123 points. Jim, let's get to yours. When it comes to Cutler, I don't know why there's so many Bears and Saints just in this matchup. Even when we get to the next matchup between me and Nick, it's the same thing. So these are 2 potent offenses that can't figure out what to do. But because the Saints stink and the Bears stink and they're playing each other, I'm going to give Cutler 25. I think Murray will get 20, which I think is actually a letdown for him, and here's why. I read that he struggled the last 4 times he's played the Eagles, only gotten 83 yards. I do think that he'll play well, but the Eagles do have some success against him, so I'm only going to give him 20. Next would be Joqua Bell, or however you say his name. 17 points for him. He's had 2 really strong games in a row, but he's had 4 duds right before that, so I'm only going to give him 17, which seems to be about in the middle of what he's been doing. T.Y. Hilton is unstoppable against Houston. He put up 223 yards last time, and I think they said like the 4 times he's played them, he's just destroyed them. So I'm going to give him 23 points, which is unfortunate. For Moncrief, I'm only going to give 10 to because 2 Colts one game, especially when T.Y. tears them up like he does. I think he's going to steal some of Moncrief's points, so he's only going to get 10. Next must be your tight end. I don't his initials are JC. I don't remember who he is. I'm only giving him 6 points. He's going against the Cardinals. This game already happened. I thought he only gets 6 points. I mean, it's the Rams versus Cardinals. I don't think there's going to be a lot of points going on. I wrote please, okay, and I seem to be pretty close to that one, I believe. Next would be LeGarrette Blount. The Dolphins are kind of struggling right now against the run, so I think that ups his chances, but I need to see more TDs out of Blount. And he got some that first week there with the Patriots, but not since, so I'm going to give him 12 because I think the Dolphins are struggling, but I think if he gets some touchdowns, that could be more. I'm going to give 10 to your defense and 10 to your kicker, which gives you a total of 133. So, Jim, I think you are moving on to the championship against, we'll find out. So, again, recap, that was 133. Jim 123, Andy. All right, for the next one, be my game versus Nick. Okay, Nick, let's look at your team first. Russell Wilson. San Francisco slowed him down last time, and I think that's just a rivalry game there, and Harbaugh has his number a little bit, but I still think he's going to get 23 points because San Francisco is not very good. Jamal Charles, I think, will get 20. Oakland sucks. I don't even got to think about it. He's easily going to get 20 no matter if he's got an ailment or whatever is going on. C.J. Anderson, his yards per carry last week kind of scared me, and San Diego has a really good, I think, 5-game streak against against opposing running backs not giving up touchdowns. So I'm only going to give him 12 points. Next would be Calvin Johnson. Minnesota stinks, and seems like Calvin Johnson right now is making up for all the missed time he's had, so I'm going to give him 26 points. I'm going to give 11 to Kenny Stills. Don't trust New Orleans. He seems to be a good deep middle guy, but Breeze is like numbers last week were horrible in the deep middle, so I'm going to give him 11. Next, is Martellus Bennett. Again, the Bears. I'm going to give him 15. I give him more because I really do think he's solid. Top 3 maybe tight end in the league, but it's the Bears, and I just can't trust them. But I'm going to give him 15. Alfred Morris, I don't like him. I don't like this game. I don't like the 2 people playing in this game. I'm not sure if they have a whole lot to play for or not. They're kind of just the 3 and 4 team in that division. And he has some good games now. I'm going to give him 7. So that's what I gave him. I'm going to give defense 20, though. They're just continually getting stronger, the Seahawks, right now. And they're going against a rivalry game where they did really well last time. So I'm going to give them 20. I'm going to give your kicker 10, which that gives you a TPS of 144. My game. My team, I mean. Andrew Luck, I'm going to give 32 points to 7 of the 14 games he's played so far. He's scored over 30 points. And then 4 of those other 7 that he did not, he was at 24, 25, 26, 27 points. So I'm going to give him 32. I think he's going to do really well against Houston. I already mentioned T.Y. Hilton tears them up. Eddie Lacy, I'm going to give 22. I'm low on him right now a little bit because of the Bills' defense, but because they've increased him so much in the passing game, I'm going to give him kind of the 20 points. Just a little heads up there on increase his score a little bit because he's catching more passes. 20 points. Le'Veon Bell, which is just on fire right now. He broke a record last week for 4 200-plus yards in a row, total yards from scrimmage or something like that. So I'm going to give him 28 points, mainly because I think the Falcons kind of stink. And I think, sorry, don't even know what I wrote there. Oh, he gets rushing TDs, passing TDs. He seems to do both. The Falcons have given up 17 TDs to running backs. So I think Le'Veon Bell's going to tear up and get 28 points. Now, Calvin Benjamin, I don't know. There's no Cam Newton. He gets garbage points every game, so I'm kind of nervous about that. But Derek Anderson does just like to chuck the ball deep, and I think Benjamin does a decent job at getting those balls. So I'm going to give him 10 points. Next is Josh Gordon. Again, a big question mark with Johnny Manziel. I just don't know what's going to happen. Josh Gordon looks a little bit out of shape, a little bit confused. I could totally see them leaning on him, though, with Manziel, but I can also see Manziel struggling a lot in just running the ball. So I'm only going to give Gordon 10 points there. Jimmy Graham, another Saint, another Bear-Saint matchup. He seems to have lost his automatic. He used to be an automatic touchdown, automatic 80 yards every game. He seems to have lost that. He had a whole bunch of targets last week, 10, I believe, with only 3 catches and 3 drops. So I'm going to give him 12 because I do think he bounces back a little bit. He's just too good not to, but he seems to be struggling. And then my last one's Roddy White, my last receiver, I'm going to give him 12 points. Consistently, he's in the mid-teens. He's not anything special, but There's a chance Julio Jones might not play, and without Tony Gonzalez, I think Roddy White is actually the short goal line guy they go to now. And then my defense, I'm going to give 15 to them. The Dallas run game makes me nervous because the Eagles are kind of flashy. They like interceptions and things like that. But I think they'll still do decent because they have really good special team play. So I'm going to 15. I'm going to give my kicker 10. You add that up to a score of 149 for TPS, so I'm going to win, which is actually funny. I thought I was going to pick against myself because I think the next team's doing really well. But I guess not. So I win. So I'll see you next week. Jim, and sorry, Aaron, Andy. Go Browns, go Manziel.